The diner smelled like butter and Friday. Eli was building a ketchup dam around his fries, narrating the flood with 9-year-old seriousness. When my phone buzzed face down beside the water glass, I wouldn't have checked it. Our rule was phones away during dad time, but the second buzz felt like a tap on the shoulder. Unknown number. One line, leave now. Don't tell him. I read it twice the way you read a road sign. You hope you misread. The screen blurred with our reflections. Me, 40, with a day's stubble. Eli, gap-toothed, shirt already dotted with crumbs. Another buzz. Window crew outside use kitchen door. I didn't look at the windows. I looked at my son. You ever seen how they clean the milkshake machine? I asked, making my voice a cartoon. He brightened. I slid a 20 under the salt. Shaker waved to the waitress and stood casually, like we were on schedule for a tour. We walked past the pie case, through the swinging door into the kitchen heat. Onions, steam, a shouted behind. Eli grinned at the noise. I caught the manager's eye, flashed a friendly thank you, and kept moving. Left at the dish pit. Out the back, into clean night air and the alley that led to the bright grocery lot. Adventure detour, I said. My pulse finally admitted it was sprinting. Warnings don't hit like lightning. They stitch together, thread by thread, until you realize someone's been hemming a circle around you. 2 nights earlier, a white panel van idled across from Eli's school. No logo. The driver wore a ball cap and sunglasses at dusk. Maybe a contractor. Maybe not. I took a photo, time-stamped it, and kept moving. An hour later, the school office called to confirm that Mom had authorized a change in pickup X. She hadn't. The office read the phone number used to request it. It was mine with 1 digit swapped. Spoofing will only release. To the usual, the secretary said, voice tight. I emailed a summary to the principal, CC'd the counselor, and requested a pickup password reset. The next morning, a package addressed to my apartment arrived with no return. The label said Mark. WATTN, compliance. At work, I'd recently flagged a vendor I didn't like a marketing shell that billed round numbers for strategy and couldn't produce a W-9. My boss, Rodriguez, had asked for supporting detail. I opened the box with a box cutter like it was wired, because fear is a muscle memory. Inside, a cheap phone powered on, home screen clean. I powered it down, slipped it into a Ziploc, and logged it with building security. Then I wrote myself an email documenting the time, contents, and handoff. If someone wanted to plant a device on my person, they were going to need a receipt with my handwriting on it that said otherwise. Custody on its best days is a relay. On its worst, it's a marketing campaign. Sierra My Ex and I use a parenting app that timestamps messages and blocks editing. It saved us from fighting about what was said. It didn't save us from her boyfriend, Dylan, who loved big gestures and small rules. He'd posted a story last month of Eli at a surprise pickup, which wasn't his day and wasn't his call. I messaged, please use the app for all scheduled changes. He replied from his own account, relax, we're family. He wasn't. The next week, I noticed a car 3 lanes over mirror my exits twice. Maybe coincidence, maybe choreography. I wrote down the plate anyway. XEH48K. In the middle of this, work heated. Our compliance team scheduled depositions about vendor anomalies. I had flagged one with address overlap to a manager's girlfriend. The day the notices went out, I got a call that never connected in known number. 3 rings, hang up 8 times in an hour. Then came a DM from a burner account asking what time Eli's soccer practice was. He plays basketball. I screenshotted and blocked. All of that lived as dots in my head until the text pinned them to the same board. Leave now. Don't tell. Him, window crew, outside use kitchen door. The crew note is what hooked. The diner had fresh decals on the glass, perfectly centered, applied last month. No reason for a crew. But it made a cover high visibility vests mean invisibility to most people. I scrolled the unknown numbers info. No name. VIP. Not helpful. I forwarded the screenshots to myself, to the parenting app Journal, and to my lawyer, Jennifer. With a subject line I hoped I'd never write: potential setup, need triage. Then I reached out to the two people who don't answer with panic. My sister, Nora, a night shift nurse who treats chaos like a math problem, and Raj, an IT friend who once explained to me that privacy is just good record-keeping with more adjectives. "Can you take Eli for a movie night?" asked Nora, texting from the grocery store bathroom we'd ducked into after the alley. "On my way," she replied. Raj wrote back in 3 bubbles. Send screenshots plus location plus diner. Name. I'll see what I can see. When I stepped back into the fluorescent light, Eli was comparing cereal mascots. I put a hand on his shoulder the way you do when you're half in the present and half in the perimeter. I made a smile that felt like a splint. "How about we make milkshakes at Aunt Nora's?" I said. "Do we get the cherry?" he asked. "2," I said. "Want." For the road. There's a difference between a getaway and a transition. Kids feel the difference. They also feel when adults pretend. I pushed our cart like we had a list, not a plan. Milk, bananas, whipped cream for the promised milkshakes, a small bag of cherries. In the checkout line, I pretended to remember a recipe and snapped a selfie of us with the cereal aisle behind Timestamp, visible on the screen. If anyone argued later about where we were, I wanted it to be boring to disprove. Race. "You to the car," I said, paying with tap and a tired smile to the cashier, who had seen every kind of night. Eli sprinted low to the ground like a kid who'd cracked speed. I kept him on my right side of habits, so my left hand was free. The grocery lot was a clean wash of light, angles visible, exits open. I scanned for uniforms that didn't match shoes. A real crew wears scars, not costumes. At the far edge, near the diner's corner windows, 2 men in bright vests leaned like props. Their pants were new. Their boots were wrong to clean, soles too flat. One lifted a phone and pretended it was a measuring device. The reflection. He stood in, gave more away than he did. Inside the diner, our vacated booth. The waitress refilling coffees, no work order taped to the glass. "Dad, I won," Eli said, touching the bumper. I unlocked the car and opened the back door. "Victory seatbelt," I said, buckling him in with the rhythm we'd practiced since he was 3. I handed him the cherries like a prize. 2 for the road. I didn't peel out. I left like a person with ice cream melting. 2 turns, 4 breaths. A stop at a light long enough to check the rear view. A gray sedan slid out from a lot a block over. Kept 2 cars between us, as if that made it invisible. Maybe coincidence. Maybe choreography. I changed my route to Nora's by 2 streets, then 3. The sedan kept polite company and made the same corrections. "New game," I said. Cheerful for him, tactical for me. "We're spies, spotting shapes. Count every triangle you see. Pizza slice," he shouted. "Yield sign, roof." "Nice," I said, letting the chatter cover the quiet work of mapping exits. At a 4-way, I eased through on yellow. Watched the sedan hesitate into red, then reappeared too quickly on a parallel street where it shouldn't have. That's not traffic. That's interest 2 blocks from Nora's. I texted, "We're close garage." She buzzed me in before I could hit the opener. The door rolled up like a stage cue. I pulled inside, shut it, and killed the engine. My hands shook then. Not before Nora opened the interior door, wearing scrubs and a look that said she'd already washed her hands twice. "Hey, scientist," she beamed at Eli. "I need help with a cherry experiment." He cheered and vaulted past. She waited until he was out of earshot. "Talk," she said. voice down to the studs. Someone tried to stage something. I said. Unknown text, window crew, as cover. Possible tale. She scanned my face, then my hands, a nurse counting symptoms. Okay, she said, already moving into steps. I'll make popcorn. You make calls. I called 911's non-emergency line because the emergency wasn't a siren, it was a plan. I reported a suspected attempted interference at a diner, possible surveillance, a tale that followed but didn't engage, and a custody context. The dispatcher took it like she'd heard worse. We'll note and patrol, she said. If you have video, save it. If they approach, call us back on 911. Then I called Raj on speaker, dropped my phone on Nora's kitchen island, and opened my laptop. Send me what you have, he said. I forwarded the screenshots, the selfie, the plate I'd logged earlier in the week, and the diner address. Text origin is a relay, he said, a minute later. Masked number through a privacy app, but the app sometimes leaks device fingerprints. If the sender's sloppy, keys clacked. Good. I asked. Interesting. The fingerprint matches a device I've seen before in your inbox. Remember that PDF Sarah's firm sent last year? The paralegal on the letter Maya. She uses this app. Could be coincidence. Could be the same person. Do you have her number? I did. Buried in a thread from the last custody modification. Maya had always seemed like the only person in that office who believed the app was a tool, not a weapon. I hadn't thought of her in months. I texted the unknown number. Who is this? It rang instead of replying. I glanced at Nora. She nodded. I answered. A woman's voice, low and clipped. Mark. Yes. It's Maya. You need to listen and then not call me back. I pressed the phone tighter. I'm listening. They wanted you to react, she said. 2 men at the window were set to film if you confronted. The plan is to edit a video to look like you're unstable around Eli, or that you abandoned him mid-meal. Dylan's friend runs a Facebook group that loves those clips. They wanted a narrative before the next hearing. My jaw clicked. Nora put a glass of water in my free hand like she'd seen a throat close before. How do you know? Screenshots, she said. I shouldn't have seen them. I did. I can't keep doing this job if they use kids as props. I texted you. From a relay, don't respond to me again. Why tell me? Because courts respond to documentation, not outrage, she said, bitter and tired. They're baiting you into outrage. What do I do now? Stay boring, she said. Secure your kid. Send your lawyer contemporaneous notes. Get the diner's camera footage before it loops. Change pickup passwords. If you can, get plate shots. One of the guys drives a gray sedan, temp tag in the window. They'll say they were concerned for Eli. Don't fight that story with adjectives. Fight it with timestamps. Will you? Put this in writing, I asked, knowing the answer. Silence stretched. I'll answer if a court asks me under oath, she said, voice softening, but I can't proactively insert myself. I've already gone further than I should. A breath. Be careful. They're escalating. The line clicked dead. I stared at the phone like it would explain what people do when they confuse winning with parenting. Raj pinged back. If you can get the diner to preserve footage tonight, do it. Many places overwrite in 24 to 72 hours. I'll draft you a preservation request email you can send right now. Nora handed me a pen and a sticky note. Make a list, she said. Do the list. Lists calm the part of the brain that wants to sprint in circles. Secure Eli. Nora cued a movie he'd already seen so twists wouldn't spike his heart. We have a code phrase, green backpack. That means we're doing a safety plan. I knelt to eye level. Green backpack. He nodded, the game brain clicking on. So, we're spies. He whispered. Today, we're chefs and spies, I said. Popcorn first, Notify school. I emailed the principal and front office. From our documented thread, pickup password changed to Juniper17. Denial list updated. Dylan last name. Anyone not listed in the app. Authorization attached. I CC'd my lawyer and attached a scanned, signed letter. The school replied in 15 minutes with a confirmation that read like a hug. Parenting app. I logged an entry due to a safety concern tonight at 6:42 p.m. At diner name, I have relocated Eli to his aunt's residence. Police non-emergency was notified for patrol in the area. I will provide receipts and details to counsel. No adjectives. No accusations. Just bricks that would hold evidence. Raj sent the preservation email for the diner and adjacent storefronts. I customized and sent. Please preserve all CCTV footage from 5:45 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. today. All angles covering interior seating and exterior windows facing street. This is for a potential legal matter. I will follow up with a formal subpoena if necessary. I called the manager I'd nodded to and asked, voice steady, favor polite. Come by at 10 a.m., she said. Our tech is in at 9. Perimeter. I shared live access from my apartment's door camera to Nora. I put my building security on notice with a bland, effective note. I am involved in a civil matter. Please log any non-resident inquiries for my unit. Release no information. Call me before allowing access. The guard on duty has kids. Got you, he said. Documentation. I wrote a contemporaneous narrative email to Jennifer. Timeline. From first buzz to Nora's door. Attached photos. A map of the grocery lot with X marks where the crew stood, and a rough route with times. I included the gray sedan's description and the maybe plate from days earlier. I ended with, I will be at diner at 10 a.m. to arrange footage. Please advise on TRO options. Vehicle. I walked back to the garage and checked my car for trackers. Modern trackers are small and magnetic. I used Nora's inspection mirror and a flashlight, running my hand along the undercarriage like a mechanic. Who cares? Nothing obvious. Noted. It anyway. 7:58 p.m. Visual inspection negative. Nora reappeared with sticky hands and a grin that meant Eli had decided kernels were meteors. He's fine, she said, and then, nurse instant to sister. Are you? No, I said. But I'm operating. Good, she said. Operating people can cry later. Jennifer called at 8:21 p.m., voice already in motion. I'm filing a TRO request in the morning narrow, behavior focused. No names yet. We'll ask the judge to prohibit third-party surveillance and interference with the child during parenting time. In parallel, I'll draft subpoenas for the diner, the grocery, and the city camera on the corner. Send me your selfie and receipt. On it, I said. Also, breathe, she added, softer. This is designed to make you big. Stay small and precise. Raj texted a still from a public street cam API he liked to play with. The diner corner. Timestamped, 2 high-vis silhouettes facing the glass. A gray sedan on the cross street with a temp tag in the window. He circled the tag in red. Got your triangles, he wrote. When chaos splits into branches, pick which tree to climb. We had to custody and work. The leaves looked similar up close. Custody branch. Dylan's appetite for content. The Facebook group Raj found was full of gotcha clips. Dad's losing. It at drop-offs. Moms weeping in parking lots. Captions that turned context into confetti. In a private thread, a user with Dylan's profile photo commented last week, "Wait till you see what we pull on Saturday. Dude is gonna show his true colors." Someone replied with a window emoji and the cry laugh face. Raj screenshotted the thread and the metadata that would tie it back if a court asked. Work branch. My compliance flags were due to go under oath. The vendor shell I'd highlighted Blue Harbor Creative billed round numbers on Fridays, got paid on Mondays, and strategized at the same cafes I used to meet Eli, a mid-level manager. Cal, whom Dylan played basketball with, had pushed Blue Harbor on 3 projects. The shell's registry address matched a co-working space with a mail service. The person who signed the SOWs used a Gmail with a name that rhymed with anonymity. When Rodriguez sent out deposition dates, my phone started getting the 3-ring. Hang-ups. A coincidence is one bush. A pattern is a tree line. Raj ran the plate OZH48K. I'd logged earlier through a legal database he subscribed to. It belonged to a different make and model than the gray sedan, but had been captured by a neighborhood camera. 2 blocks from Sarah's on nights that weren't her custody days. "They're sloppy," he said. "Sloppy is evidence's best friend." Printed maps and drew lines like a detective show I pretended. I didn't watch. Diner, grocery, school, Sarah's. My place, the gray sedan's likely path. The circle tightened around places where Eli and I were predictable by design. That predictability is a feature for kids. It's for people who want to script scenes. It's a storyboard. Evidence clusters thickened. The diner manager emailed back. "We have footage. You can view with police or with a subpoena." The grocery's assistant manager, a kid with a lanyard who sounded thrilled to be useful, wrote, "We keep 48 hours on our exterior cams. If you want it, better hurry. City cameras require a formal request." Jennifer added them to the list. Raj, who thrives when given a puzzle and a legal reason to solve it, pulled scraper stills from a public traffic cam across the intersection within minutes of the approximate time. One frame caught the reflection I'd noticed, a phone held up at our booth's window. In the next frame, after we'd left, the phone lowered and a face half turned enough to match to a Facebook profile photo from Dylan's feed. His friend, Cody, who loves high-vis fashion, ironically. The last piece snapped into place with a DM I didn't answer. A burner account with 0 followers and 1 post messaged, "Did your son cry when you left him? Bet the judge loves that." I didn't take the bait. I screenshot, emailed it to myself and Jennifer, and filed it under men's re-cheap version. "Why?" "Both fronts," Nora asked, looking at my bird's nest of arrows. "Because Dylan thinks everything is a show," I said, "and Cal thinks everything is leverage. One wants a clip, the other wants me rattled before I testify that his pet vendor can't spell and voice. They share friends, so they share tactics. Both underestimate boring," she said, pouring tea into a mug I didn't realize I needed. "Lucky for you, boring is your superpower." I laughed for the first time since the diner, the sound surprising us both. "If I ever get a cape," I said, "it'll be beige." Jennifer's late-night email landed like a flight. Path, 9 a.m. File trial request with declarations. Yours plus preservation notices, plus stills 10 a.m. Meet diner manager. If they'll let you view. Capture with phone while we wait on subpoena. Noon, police report addendum with footage reference. 2 p.m. School meeting to finalize pickup protocol, bring Nora as backup. 4 p.m. Draft subpoenas, diner. Grocery, city. Cam, relay app IP logs. Ongoing, do not engage Dylan or intermediaries. Use app only. I replied with one word, confirmed. Then I slept on Nora's couch with one shoe off, because half ready was still ready and my brain only consented to shut down when it believed the list existed outside my skull. Morning made everything look less haunted. The diner manager, Clarice, turned out to be the kind of person who can run 6 crises while telling a joke. She led me to an office the size of a closet and pulled up the previous night's feeds. "There," she said, pointing at a thumbnail of the booth Eli and I had occupied. We watched us laugh about ketchup geography and then me glance at my phone, stiffen, smile through it, and lead him out. 30 seconds later, 2 vests slid into the frame. One lifted a phone. He steadied it with 2 hands like a person who films for sport. They waited. They peered. They texted. They didn't come in. Clarice muttered, "Creeps. Can I record the screen while we wait for a subpoena?" I asked. She hesitated, then shrugged. "I'm just walking away for 3 minutes to make a call," she said. "If my computer happens to be on demo mode and a customer happens to hold up his phone, who am I to stop the economy?" I filmed. The reflection on the glass caught Cody's profile in a blink. His vest was a costume. His expression wasn't at the grocery. A manager named Tyler, not that Tyler escorted me to a back office and queued up the exterior cams. He had exactly the enthusiasm of a person who grew up on procedurals. We found the alley door. The moment we stepped out, the angle across the lot to the diner windows. The gray sedan slid into view, paused, and then drifted to a spot with a line of sight on our car. When we drove off, it ghosted along the adjacent street. Tyler burned a copy too. A thumb drive with a chain of custody form he printed from an internet template he'd been waiting to use. I signed it. He blushed with pride. At noon, I added an addendum at the precinct. Video obtained, angles preserved, times noted. The officer took the drive, logged it, and handed me a receipt that felt like a tiny shield. The school meeting was efficient. We sat with the principal and counselor in a room painted the color of good intentions. "We're locking pickup to app-approved adults with the password," the principal said. "If anyone calls the office to change, we will say no. All changes must be in writing on the app." She looked at me over her glasses. "If anyone shows up with a vest and a smile, security escorts him out." "Thank you," I said, meaning it. Jennifer's TRO filing read like a dictionary for adults who confuse concern with control. She kept it tight, asking the court to prohibit third-party recording, surveillance, or interference during petitioner's parenting time, and to require all custody exchanges and communications through the parenting platform only. She attached my declaration, Clarice's letter promising footage preservation, stills from the cams, and the burner DM. Maya's voice couldn't be in the declaration yet, but it lived in the shape of everything else. Subpoenas went out to the diner, grocery, and the city camera network. Raj drafted language for an order to the Relay app to preserve IP logs associated with the numbers that texted me and the burner DM account. Jennifer cautioned that tech companies resist, but preservation is half the battle. All day, Dylan tried to drag me into extras. He messaged on the app, "Heard you ran out on Eli at dinner. Is he okay?" The platform shows read receipts. I waited an hour, then replied with my script, "Please use the app for schedule and health updates. All other matters through counsel." He wrote 3 more jabs. I didn't engage. I documented. By late afternoon, we had a lattice footage. Stills, logs, requests, receipts. Evidence is fibro. One strand alone is thin. Woven, it holds muscle where you expect none. Nora texted from my couch. Eli napped, sitting up holding a cherry stem like a flag. I breathed. Boring wasn't glamorous. It was a life raft with correct knots. Court the next morning smelled like toner and coffee from a machine that resented its job. Family calendars make judges tired. They also make them precise. Our trial was up first on the motion calendar. Jennifer spoke in the way that made me wish. All communication had page numbers. "We're not here to accuse respondent of a crime," she began. "We're here to prevent behavior that escalates conflict around a child." She laid out the mosaic: preservation letters, diner footage, grocery exterior video, still showing the high-vis crew filming the booth, the gray sedan pacing our departure. The burner message: opposing counsel, a man who says, "Your Honor," like he's ordering a drink, stood to argue that concerned friends had simply checked in because petitioner has a history of anxiety. He lifted printouts. From Dylan's group chat showing jokes about window shopping. He tried to turn it to a comedy. He tried to sell chaos as care. Judge Iqbal didn't blink. Does respondent deny that his acquaintances filmed petitioner and the minor child at dinner? Counsel gulped. They were outside, Your Honor. And does he deny instructing or encouraging it? He expressed concern. Does he deny the burner messages? Your Honor, we don't sit, the judge said. Not UNKINDLY. Jennifer slid the diner clip onto the presentation screen. We watched me and Eli laugh about ketchup, then me read a message and choose the kitchen door. We watched the crew lift a phone to the glass. We watched the grocery angle that caught the gray sedan reposition. No one in the room who has ever loved a kid mistook that for care. Where is this concern when there isn't a camera? The judge asked, mostly to the ceiling. He signed the TRA prohibiting third-party recording, surveillance, and interference during my time, ordered all communications through the app, and warned that violations would be considered in future. Custody allocations. He also added a line that made my shoulders drop by half an inch. Exchanges shall occur at a neutral, monitored location. Then, a surprise witness. Maya, hair pulled back, suit plain, voice steady. She had responded to a court notice to appear on a preservation issue and chose to speak. Your Honor, I have seen communications among respondents' associates discussing a plan to provoke petitioner into a reaction while filming. I alerted petitioner anonymously to prevent escalation. If compelled, I can produce those communications. Under seal, opposing counsel tried to object. Atajay waved him down. Ms. Atajay checked her name. Thank you. If you have materials relevant to safety, provide them to both counsel and the court under seal. Dylan tried to stand, then thought better of it. He looked smaller than he does in his videos, like life had turned down his saturation. The hearing ended with a hard boundary and a soft instruction. I am not adjudicating who is the better parent, the judge said. I am setting rules to protect the child from being a prop in grown-up conflict. Your feelings are not evidence. Your videos are not currency. Follow the order. Outside, in the corridor with dull art, Jennifer exhaled. That's the right judge for this, she said. We'll move the big custody pieces later. For now, you have guardrails. I texted Nora. Order granted. She replied with a photo of Eli brushing a stuffed dinosaur's teeth. I put my forehead against the cool wall and felt something ease that I didn't know had clenched. Maya walked past, eyes forward. I stepped aside instead of into her path. Thank you, I said, low. She nodded once. Make it stick, she said, and kept walking. If you pull on one rope long enough, it tugs another. The footage from the grocery had caught the gray sedan's temp tag clearly enough for police to ask. DMV for the issuing dealer. It led to a rental broker that specializes in short-term leases to companies. The lease on that sedan. Blue Harbor Creative, the vendor I'd flagged. The contact on the lease. Cal. The date of the lease. The week deposition notices went out. Rodriguez called me into the conference room with the view of the loading dock. Walk me through everything again, he said. I did, from the diner to the judge's order, then the lease. His jaw set in the way that means a person isn't angry so much as aligning. We looped in legal and security. Legal pulled the saws and found Cal's approval signatures on all Blue Harbor projects, despite his lack of authority at that threshold. Security reviewed badge logs and found Cal's after-hours entries matched nights when Blue Harbor billed on-site strategy. Cameras showed no one with a Blue Harbor badge entering. Security emailed a timeline with clips. It looked like a ghost worked late. Blue Harbor's invoices listed brand uplift sessions at coffee shops within 1 mile of my apartment on nights that my parenting app showed I had Eli. Coincidence? Maybe, if you squint. We didn't squint. We scheduled Cal's deposition. He arrived with a tie he didn't know how to knot and a confidence he shouldn't have brought. Legal asked simple questions. What is Blue Harbor's address? He recited the co-working space. Who is their principal? A consultant name? First name only. How did they add value? Strategy. Define strategy. Brand alignment. Define brand alignment. He shifted in his chair. We should get back to. We are back to it, legal said. Then the clip from the grocery lot slid across the table. The gray sedan with the temp tag, the timestamp. The angle that made clear it was there for us, not a latte. Why is Blue Harbor's rental following our employee and his son? Legal asked. Cal blanched. I don't handle their operations, he said. But you signed their SOWs, approved their invoices, and associated your employee ID with their after-hours access on nights their staff never entered the building, legal said. Help us understand. You couldn't or wouldn't. It didn't matter which. Rodriguez suspended him pending investigation that same afternoon. Security disabled his badge. It pulled his email. The company issued a quiet notice to staff that read like a fire drill in light of an ongoing compliance review. Please direct all vendor inquiries to the procurement inbox. Do not discuss internal matters outside approved. Channel's employees with active legal matters will receive additional support. They added a section to our security handbook about family safety during sensitive probes. It included a line I wrote, "Predictability is for children, not for surveillance." That night, for the first time in a week, I cooked in my own kitchen. Eli narrated a Lego battle on the floor. The apartment smelled like garlic and a truce. The parenting app pinged with a new message from Sarah. I understand there are new court orders. I will comply. No emojis. No Dylan. Dad, Eli said, holding up a Lego man with a cape. He's boring, but he wins. I laughed into the pan. My favorite kind, I said. TROs don't fix character. They fix conduct. What they gave us was space to model something else. I told Eli we were playing safety bingo now boxes with things like identify 2 exits. Find a helper in a uniform. Remember our code word. Notice what color the floor is by the door. We practiced in low-stakes places. He liked beating me. He liked that the prize was picking the music for the ride home. Exchanges moved to a monitored center, with beige furniture and staff who looked like every ant. The first time, Dylan wasn't there. The second, he arrived late, stood on tape. You're not supposed to cross, and stared at the ceiling while Sarah signed in. The staff member with the ant vibe handed me a printed copy of the order like a cup of tea. We've got it, she said. They did. Jennifer moved our larger custody motion down the calendar. No rush now that the guardrails held. Judges reward stability, she said. Let this order show it's working. On the parenting app, Sarah stuck to logistics. Drop-offs. Medications, school plays. The volume turned down. When she slipped, Dylan thinks you overreacted. I replied, please keep communications to logistics. The moderation team flagged her message. The platform is an exhausting miracle. It makes adults write like minutes. I emailed Maya a thank you through Jennifer so it would live in the file and not in a text that could be twisted. Maya responded with a note I didn't expect. I'm looking for a job outside family law. This isn't why I went to school. I wished her boring days and bosses who use rules for good. At work, Rodriguez put me on a policy team. I wrote procedures anyone could follow when they feel watched. Don't change your route out of fear, change it out of plan. Document, don't debate. Default to well-lit exits and cashiers with name tags. Assume cameras overwrite fast. If it isn't written down, it didn't happen. We put the checklist on the intranet. People printed it and taped it inside lockers. Boring is contagious when it keeps you whole. On a Tuesday that didn't carry weight, Eli and I went back to the diner. Clarice waved us in like we were regulars again. We sat at a different booth, facing the kitchen door by choice, not because of a text. Eli built a new ketchup dam. I let my phone rest face down, without the part of my brain that listens for taps. From ghosts? Dad, he said, serious. If we have to do a green backpack again, can I be the one who says it? You can, I said. But I hope we just collect check marks on bingo. He grinned. What's our free square? Tell the truth, I said. He thought. Is that boring? Extremely, I said. And unbeatable. On the way out, we high-fived Clarice. Outside, the glass reflected the street, the sky. U.S., no vests. Just people with dinners and places to be. The world didn't soften because we asked it to. It got clearer because we made it be. That night, I wrote 4 lines on an index card and taped it inside our apartment door. At adult eye level, leave the scene if it's weird. Keep the kid. Tell the truth on paper. Don't feed. The cameras, the text that had tried to turn us into a clip became a rule set we could live by. Leave now. Don't tell him. I reframed it on purpose, out loud, for the part of me that still vibrated. Leave the trap. Keep the child. Tell the truth. Then go eat your fries while they're hot.